Welcome to JC Stocks and Markets Podcast for December 3rd, 2022. This year's almost over. I'm JC. I've been investing in the stock market for 40 plus years. Made good trades in investments and some not so good. My intentions with these podcasts are to share my unique thoughts and opinions on the individual stock and ETF picks with an emphasis on dividend-paying securities, which are my favorites. The idea here is to share my thoughts and possibly give you, the listeners, some investment ideas so you and I can maybe make some money. Not doing this for income, nor am I trying to earn any advertising revenue from anyone. I just really enjoy doing this and I hope to share some chances to make a little money along with you. During some of these shows, we may stray into other topics or news that affect the stocks or ETFs that we're discussing. They can include commentary on government politics, Federal Reserve policies, current events, or just general thoughts that rattle around in my melon. The opinions shared in these podcasts are my own, and they are just that, opinions. I invest in many of the stocks and ETFs that are featured in the podcast. I will try to let you know if I have or will establish a position in these securities. Disclaimer: by all means, everybody has to do their due diligence prior to investing any money into anything. With these stock picks, that's no exception. Do your own due diligence. With that, let's go make some money. The ETF that I'd like to discuss today is the iShares iBoxx Investment Grade Corporate Bond ETF. LQD is the symbol. I do not have a position in this right now. However, what I've done, if you'll go back and listen to one of my previous podcasts on TLT, that actually made a good run, about 10% in about a month. So I sold that utilizing a covered call strategy and made some good money with that, and added, of course, the premium via the contract that I sold, the cost that I sold it for. I changed my mind on that a little bit, only because I saw that Jerome Powell has decided that it looks like interest rates are going to keep going up until inflation has cooled. It seems that inflation really hasn't cooled off much, guys, and especially with wage inflation and such. It looks like we're going to have higher and higher prices from here, unfortunately. And what I did was I sold TLT, and I'm looking at buying into LQD, which is what I'll describe further into this podcast. First graphic I'm going to show you is from the iShares LQD website. As you can see, this is a very large ETF. It's $37 billion plus in size. It pays about 3%, which we'll see in the next slide, but the distribution frequency is monthly. And I circled up the daily volume. This is very liquid. There's a 30 million share per day average trading on this thing, and it's funny. I saw the shares outstanding. It's almost 10% of the shares outstanding. So this turns over quite a bit. I just wanted to emphasize these right here. Some of the characteristics from the portfolio. This next slide is from iShares website as well. Number of holdings in LQD is 2,500, a little over 2,500. The SEC yield, which is kind of a calculated yield on the of the funds. It's to try to even things out. Looks like 5.2, but if you really calculate it out, the 12-month trailing yield, 3.36, that's circled up there, it is more like it. Average yield to maturity, that's the bond face value plus the interest payments, this is about 5%. And the beta, which is how it correlates to essentially your S&P, is about 0.35. So it doesn't move a lot, but this it's high quality securities that LQD holds. And we'll talk about that in the next slide. This next slide is from the LQD fact sheet that I got from their website. And what you can see there on the left-hand side, we have the credit rating breakdown, which is really their holdings and the percentages of what they hold. Almost half their holdings are BBB rated, which is investment grade, BB rated or lower is non-investment grade. And you can see that they're more or less investment grade bonds throughout. The other thing I circled there was the maturity breakdown. It looks like you've got bonds all over the map from 20 years plus back to 3 to 5 years mostly, which is the majority of their holdings. And the expense ratios are low at 0.14%. Now to the strategy that I'm looking to do with LQD. This slide is from Yahoo Finance. As I said before, I sold the TLT that I had and made about a 10% profit in about a month. So I sold that based on what I heard the other day from Jerry Powell on inflation and interest rates. Didn't like it. I think they're going to be jacking up rates, which means bond prices, TLT as well, will go back down. But I'm going to pick LQD because LQD has a little higher dividend payment. Shouldn't payment, but payment rate, dividend yield, which I believe will get higher as companies refinance. They're going to have to refinance at higher interest yield rates, which will only make the returns on this higher. The dividends that they'll pay will be higher because obviously what they're going to get on their bonds is going to be a higher percentage. So sold TLT, and what I'm planning to do, as you can see, we're looking at it's about $109.50 per share right now. I believe with the interest rate hikes, the LQD will drop from here. I don't know that it's going to hit the bottom of the Bollinger Bands here. You can see that it's overbought. Pretty much has been for about, 2 weeks or so or more. I think you're gonna see some selling. You're gonna see that thing drop to probably the 50-day moving average, which is at about 103. That's where I'm gonna start piecing in LQD. About 103. Buy some. If there's a further drop, buy a little more, and then I think this thing will probably bottom at about, as you can see, about $100 per share, and that will be the bottom for this LQD, and then I'll have my full position. Anyway, that's my idea. I think LQD has a target for me if I were to buy in at 103 to about 100. Probably looking at about 120. And the reason I say that is not just because interest rates will eventually start to drop, which they will, and that'll make LQD worth more per shares, but I think you're going to see that the interest that they gather, that the ETF gets from the bonds that they're investing in, as there's turnover in the bonds themselves, you're going to see a higher rate of return. With that, to maintain the same dividend rate, the value of the shares will go up. So I think I would target this thing at about 120. That's just my strategy. I hope you got something out of this podcast. Like I said, I kind of took a quick 180 on TLT, but like I said, I made some quick money on that, plus the premium with my covered call sale of the shares. Again, I hope you got something out of this. I try to give people ideas. I'm just giving opinions. With that, I'd like to say thank you for listening. The outro is a song by Just One Goat. It's called She's the One. I wrote it. The band made it happen. And it has some significance to me. Hope you enjoy. Again, thank you for listening, and we hope to see you again. Bye now.
A loving girl is physical, but I never have to roam. Well, she's always there for me. It's simple, can't you see? She's the one. Oh, she's the one. Everything is magical, even when she's not around. No, it's not that radical, I just know what I have found. Well, she's always there for me. life so much stronger. God, let me stay just a little bit longer. She's the one, yeah, she's the one.